Hi, YouTube. My name is Tiffany Domino, and I'm here to talk to you today about 10 things to learn from African American entrepreneurs in history. Now, this is not meant to be any type of pity party about the things that happen in history or any way to bash another race, but this is meant to be something that you can relate to when you go through adversity, when you go through obstacles, when you feel stuck in your business and you're trying to grow. This video is meant to be some inspiration for you to learn from people who were in a position of slavery, who were in a position where they couldn't necessarily make the choices that they wanted to make, but still, despite it all, there are lessons to learn from those people who were able to still do business and in spite of the situation. So there are times when you are in business and things aren't that easy. You'll have choices that you need to make. There might be ethics that you feel are compromised. And there's just situations where you wonder, is it possible that I can start and grow a business into an enterprise despite maybe having shortage of cash flow? Maybe you don't have enough money. To do the things that you feel need to be done. Maybe you don't have enough resources. Maybe you don't have enough relationships, and you feel like, is it really possible for me to do the business, grow the business, and get to where you envision for it to go without having what you feel like you need? So I feel like the African American entrepreneurs in history are really inspirational to look to in times like that, because you hear about them being spit on, them being beat, them being abused, people not thinking that they were equally valuable, people who felt like they were in comparison to animals. And you wonder, how is it that there could be people who were still able to be successful, like Madam C.J. Walker, the first female millionaire? She was, she lived and became successful as a millionaire even before the women's rights was passed. Women still weren't able to vote during the time she became a millionaire, and she lived right after the Civil War. So she came up in a time of steep adversity. You can check out my blog post on her below, but you'll see that she started with no money and she was able to grow an enterprise, a massively successful enterprise. And still, her name is highly searched even to this day. So there are people like Madam C.J. Walker. There are people like Oprah Winfrey, who started out from nothing. There are people like Daymond John and others who experienced lots of adversity on their way to scale their business into an enterprise. But those life lessons can just teach you so much. And here are 10 of the things that I think you can learn from those that we'll talk about right now. So the ongoing battle of race and value is something that has extended throughout history. You'll find different times where maybe the person or the slave or the people who experienced the adversity wasn't African Americans, but maybe it was the Jews, maybe it was other races and ethnicities. So the African Americans aren't the only ones that experienced something like that, but they did experience a lot of adversity and a lot of bondage and a lot of just maltreatment. And the types of adversity that they experienced was to be separated from their families, to be separated from their native tongue, not to understand their history, not to be in their native area where they feel comfortable, and just to be stripped of all of those liberties that you normally consider a right. The African Americans in history didn't have all of those things. So when they came over here, they were absent of choice, and then they had to acclimate to new environments, and then they were treated as animals on top of that. So whenever you feel like you are going through a hardship, or an adversity. It could be in your marriage. It could be raising your kids. It could be just not feeling like people are treating you equally or right. There are other people that you can look to that had experiences like that, and you can learn from their experiences. Here's the first lesson I want you to get from the African American entrepreneurs in history. Lesson number 1 is define yourself and don't let others define you. So oftentimes when we go out into the world, we find that there's trends, there's hype, there's hoopla about different things. And maybe you may not have everything that is trending. For example, there's brands out that are trending, and maybe you don't have all of those things. And you have to, instead of trying to keep up with what's trending out there, or to try to build your business based off of the most popular thing that's going on, you have to define yourself. You have to define your brand. You have to build a culture apart from what's going on, and be okay with establishing something new and original. And so the African American entrepreneurs in history, they had to define themselves, because they were defined as animals. They were defined as disgusting. They were looked down upon. It was a lot of negative association with African Americans. And, they were looked at as if they meant nothing. And those people, despite constantly hearing that negativity and being treated like that, they still had to arm themselves with positive self-talk and to say, I'm not going to accept as a part of my being. I'm not going to change the way that I define myself because of the way other people are defining me around. So you have to consider the same things. You want to have those positive mantras that you say to yourself, and like there's scriptures, there's quotes and things that you can adopt that help you to instill those positive mantras. And if you need any quotes or anything like that, stop by my website and check out some of the posts and some of the biographies that I have there, so you can see how these successful people say positive things, and they instill positive mantras in themselves, and they have positive beliefs that help them and enable them and propel them to be where they are. So number 2, let adversity give you strength. You'll hear lots of people who have achieved different levels of success, and they'll say that it's not the success that made them strong, but it was the failure. And so you want to adopt things like that. There's a quote I want to share with you. Let me grab it. Okay. This quote says, "When you undervalue what you do, the world will undervalue who you are." Wait, I'm too far. "Without a struggle, there can be no progress." That's the one I'm looking for. And that one is by Frederick Douglass. Without a struggle, there can be no progress. So Frederick Douglass, he experienced lots of adversity. At one point, he was a slave, but he became a free man in his young adulthood. And so what he's saying is that without a struggle, there can be no progress. Without failure, you can't know how to succeed. So, and you really appreciate the success that you have when you have experienced hardship and adversity and things like that. Then it makes that really sweet experience of once you've climbed the mountain and get to the top, it's just really exciting because of the struggle and the adversity that you had to experience to get there. So let adversity give you strength. Don't sit there and toil in your sadness because you failed or whatever like that. Bounce back, get up, be resilient, and allow that struggle to be on your resume for success rather than to be the story that you tell for your failure. So then number 3 is create opportunities. Don't wait on them to come to you. And I really love this quote by Madam C.J. Walker, where she says, I had to make my own living and my own opportunity, but I made it. Don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them. Madam C.J. Walker I just talked about her briefly before. She was the first female millionaire, African-American millionaire. And she became a millionaire before the women's rights movement. So at the time, there was a lot of not only unequal respect for African Americans, but there was also unequal respect for women. They weren't able to vote. They were expected to be in the house. And then on top of that, this woman was a single mother. So she had a lot of adversity that she experienced in her life, and despite it all, she was still able to become successful because she had the mentality that she has to create her own opportunities. She can't wait on somebody to bring an opportunity to her. For her, she had different jobs, and they were poor paying jobs. And then she got to a point where she realized that opportunities are not going to just be created for her. She's going to have to, do something different. And she made a hair care line that ended up propelling her success and helping her to become a millionaire and still to leave her family with lots of inheritance. So number 4 is don't undervalue yourself. And I just read the quote from that one. It says, when you undervalue what you do, the world will undervalue who you are. And that's by Oprah Winfrey. And so I've personally been in situations where I have went to a customer and I have priced lower than what I should have because I did not realize how much value my service had to the customer. And I didn't realize how much value my service or my product had to the market in general. And because I didn't have that background and that research done, then I was charging based off of like walking on eggshells, not knowing what would the person really want to pay for what I offer. And anytime you don't understand your value, it's potential for you to undervalue yourself and undervalue what you do. And it can really turn out bad for you. So you really want to do your research. You want to build that self-confidence and understand that your skills and your talents are valuable in the marketplace. You want to understand how people normally value them in comparison to your competitors, how you're set apart, how your expertise is in the marketplace, your skill level, and all of those things, so that you can really accurately place a price on what you do, and you can accurately grow your business ethically. And, so Oprah Winfrey, as an example, since she's the one that said the quote, she's known as one of the wealthiest African-American women in the U.S. She experienced lots of adversity in her early childhood, including rape, racism, and betrayal. But her adversity, she didn't allow that to get her down. At one point, of course, those things took a toll on her and her self-confidence, but she realized that she has a value, not just to her family, because, you know, at times her value in her family was compromised. But she also had a value in the marketplace with her message and her desire to empower other people and her mission and all of the lives that she's been able to touch. It's been very valuable to the marketplace. And it's a good thing that she realized that value that she had, and you should realize the value that you have also. The next thing, number 5, never be afraid to fail or even fail a lot. And this quote by Michael Jordan says, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." So Michael Jordan really reaffirmed that point that I made earlier about how you want to let adversity give you strength instead of to let adversity be the reason for your failure. Michael Jordan is known as one of the most successful NBA players of all time, and he's that way because he maintained that mentality that this isn't the last shot. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep trying, and keep practicing, and put your best foot forward, and not to, stagnate yourself because you're scared to fail. It's so often that we can get in that situation where we don't even want to take an attempt at something because we think, well, what if? But if Michael Jordan had the mentality that he had and it led to his success, take that as an inspiration to go for it. Do what you need to do. After retiring from the NBA, Jordan reached new levels of success as a businessman. He had several contracts with Nike, and today his net worth is more than $1 billion as a result of having that mentality that even though he missed more than 9,000 shots, he still had a chance to succeed. So just keep that in mind. Number 6, there is no perfect timing. Don't wait for the perfect time. You will wait forever. Always take advantage of the time you're given, by Daymond John. Now, Daymond John is one of the sharks on Shark Tank, the ABC sitcom, and his clothing line, For Us, By Us, or FUBU, was created from his mom's house, but became a very successful company. And he experienced lots of adversity growing up with dyslexia and having other struggles that he experienced. But despite it all, he still was able to grow a successful company and then take the money from that and help other entrepreneurs to grow successful companies as well, because that's what he does on the Shark Tank. So there is no perfect timing is what his quote said. And you just want to keep in mind that a lot of people are waiting for after my kids are grown, after my husband does this, after my wife does this, after my business gets to this certain point. And it's okay to set goals. That's one thing. But don't let the goal turn into an excuse. Don't let that milestone turn into a place where you're stagnated and you're not maximizing your potential. Don't wait around for the perfect timing because it may never come. Number 7, take initiative to get attention from powerful people. It's up to you to bring yourself to the attention of powerful people around you. They're not going to find you on their own. Richard Parsons. So Richard Parsons has been an executive in many multi-million-dollar companies, including Time Warner, Citigroup, and Los Angeles Clippers, and CBS. He experienced adversity as he was climbing the ladders in many different areas, but he still has the he still has the mentality that you want to get in front of powerful people. You want to take that initiative because that was something that quantum leaped his success. And so you'll find many successful people that will tell you to find a mentor, to build relationships, and those relationships are like even better than getting an investment in your company. You really want to take time and initiative to build relationships, especially with people that can compromise your social circle, people who are maybe not the typical ones that you would go up and eat with or you would go up and make friends with, people who might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable because maybe they've accomplished much more than you have. But you want to build those relationships because it'll compromise your social circle and get you to start thinking in ways that maybe you didn't before. So take the initiative and get around powerful people. If you need to maybe open the door by sending them something or giving them something, do that, because you want to continue to compromise your social circle so you can keep climbing different echelons of success. Number 8, conquer your limiting beliefs and insecurities. I wrote a full post about 67 limiting beliefs that are common, and I think you should definitely take a look at that post. I can leave the link down below. But this quote will definitely help. This quote says, "The battles that count aren't the ones for gold medals. The struggles within yourself, the invisible, inevitable battles inside all of us, that's where it's at." That's by Jesse Owens, an Olympic, 4-time Olympic gold medalist. So Jesse Owens, he was an African-American gold medalist that went over to compete in the Olympics during the time of Hitler. At that time, Hitler only wanted Aryan people to compete in the Olympics. And so there was a big boycott that they had until the Nazis decided to take down the propaganda before the Olympics. So in a situation like that, where you're clearly not wanted, and maybe you're expected to compete or you're expected to participate or perform, it can be really intimidating because you expect people to be wanting you to fail, or to you expect you can feel the negativity. And but despite it, the biggest battle that you have is to overcome the things that you think in your mind, so that you know that you can still walk in confidence despite the situation. And that like the first lesson we talked about, define yourself, don't let others define you. So you have to, instead of having those negative beliefs, I can't do this, I won't do this, I'm not good enough, do I have enough of this to do that? Instead of having all of those limiting beliefs, you have to start to change the paradigm that you have, and start to think about what you do have and what you can do and what you do want, instead of all of the other comments that you might have. So next, number 9. Stay competitive. This quote, if you're a competitive person, that stays with you. You don't stop. You always look over your shoulder. And the competitive mentality is really good for you, because you never want to get complacent where you feel like you're the best, because in that way, you won't continue to push yourself and to try to challenge yourself so that you can do even better. But once you realize that there's bigger companies, there's companies that are comparable to yours that might be doing this more savvy or that more savvy, there's a lot that you can learn from the companies around you. And just like Jay Abraham, he has what he calls upside leverage. When you're in a competitive environment, you can use that competition and that fuel and that adrenaline rush as upside leverage to really grow and exponentially expand your business. So Magic Johnson, he was a star NBA player. He was a point guard. He won several championships, and he still holds the record for earning an MVP in his rookie year. He ran into or he acquired HIV and ended up retiring from the NBA as a result of the diagnosis. But he did not let that stop him in business and in the marketplace. He still went on to be very successful, and now he's become responsible for billions of dollars in wealth as the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, as the owner of several Starbucks locations, doing lots of philanthropy and many other things under the Magic Johnson Enterprises. So his tip for us is that if we stay competitive, that we can continue to grow, that we can continue to excel. So, and the last tip, number 10, lesson number 10, is treat people well. You are where you are today because you stand on somebody's shoulders, and wherever you are heading, you cannot get there by yourself. If you stand on the shoulders of others, you have a reciprocal responsibility to live your life so that others may stand on your shoulders. It's the quid pro quo of life. We exist temporarily through what we take, but we live forever through what we give, by Vernon Jordan. So, Vernon Jordan is a business executive and lawyer who specializes in civil rights activism. He's experienced lots of adversity, but he still is one of the only African American people that is able to attend the Inner Circle Bilderberg Group meetings. And so the lessons that he teaches, he's achieved many levels of success, and he's saying that we should be considerate of the relationships that we have and just be grateful and to realize that we stand on somebody else's shoulders. So to give and also to receive, to sow, but also to reap, and not to just nonchalantly take and take and take. So that's all the lessons that I have for today. Those are the 10 lessons. To recap, the first one was define yourself. Don't let others define you. Let adversity give you strength. Create opportunities. Don't wait on them to come to you. Don't undervalue yourself. Never be afraid to fail or even fail a lot. There is no perfect timing. Take initiative to get attention from powerful people. Conquer limiting beliefs. Stay competitive and treat people well. I'll leave the link to the post on my website below so you can read through the entire thing. And also the link to the 67 self-limiting beliefs, I'll add that below as well. And as always, if you like what you see here, click the link below and subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends and family. And if you need help with your marketing or starting and scaling your business, stop by my website, leave your name and email, and I'll send you some free training where you can also get 2 free websites and internet marketing training and access to a community of over 1 million people. Be blessed.